people who are having that enterprise bent of mind, people who are trying to do something of their own, you will also have enough possibilities to knock the wood out of the park. You will have to figure out a strategy to de-alienate yourself and continue to pump in efforts to the utmost, because this Ketu gives an aspect to both your Lagna, your 11th house, as well as your third house. New projects will get initiated and they will consume a lot of your time. So please be prepared for that sort of a get up. Hi guys, welcome back to Dev Astrology. Today we are going to be doing the reading for your sign for the month of January 2025. We've done a detailed reading for all the signs, both moon as well as rising, and you can check out the annual predictions which are already posted a couple of weeks back on my channel video. So without further ado guys, you can get started with the key dates that are going to be coming into picture for the month of January. And you can watch this video both from a rising as well as moon sign perspective. So it gives you confidence to see the video in both perspectives. All right, let me share my screen and showcase what are the key dates that will impact us this month. So guys, as you guys can see on your screen here, first and foremost, Sun is currently placed in the sign of Sagittarius, and it is going to be there till the first half of the month, till Jan 13th. And then it will be going into the sign of Capricorn from Jan 14th onwards. Then you have Mercury, which is again placed in conjunction with Sun in the sign of Sagittarius itself, and it is going to be in this sign from Jan 4th, means it is going to be transiting from the sign of Scorpio for the first 3 days and then moving into the sign of Sagittarius from Jan 4th, and then it will be in Capricorn from Jan 24th onwards. You have Venus, which is currently in Aquarius, and it is going to be there until Jan 26th, and from Jan 27th it will be moving into the sign of Pisces in its sign of exaltation, and we've touched upon this in our annual videos as well, and we are going to be talking about this in depth today. Then you have Mars, which is in Cancer in retrograde movement, and it is there till Jan of 20th, and then it is going to be moving into the sign of Gemini from Jan 21st onwards, where it will continue in its retrograde motion itself. You have Jupiter currently retrograde in the sign of Taurus in Rohini Nakshatra, which is ruled by Moon. So it is continuing in the sign of Taurus itself through the course of this month, with Saturn being in Aquarius in Purv Bhadrapada Nakshatra, which is the lord of Jupiter's sign. So it's going to be in Jupiter's sign now onwards itself in Aquarius. Then you have Rahu, which is in Pisces in Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra, which is ruled by Saturn. And then you have Ketu, which is in the sign of Virgo in Uttara Phalguni Nakshatra, which is ruled by Sun. So these are the key dates that are going to be impacting you for the course of this month. So guys, I hope you are watching this both from a Pisces moon as well as Pisces rising perspective. Now, as you guys can see on your screen here, in your ascendant, in your first house itself, you have Rahu sitting in the retrograde motion while Ketu is sitting in your 7th house. Now, the interesting bit that is going to happen in the last part of the week of this month will be that from Jan 27th onwards, Venus is going to be coming into your ascendant, into your first house, and it is going to be in conjunction with Rahu itself. It's a planet of expansion, and some major expansion is expected for you. Major expansion with respect to both 8th house elements as well as with respect to the 3rd house elements, which means that the enterprising behavior, the amount of hard work that you put in, the kind of short distance journeys, travels that you might be taking place, they are going to increase in size. This could mean intercity travel, within the city travel, you might be required to travel a lot. High possibility that unexpected challenges, objectives, targets might also come your way and you might have to work towards addressing them, but they will be magnanimous in size. 8th house also means occult. It also means in-laws support in coming in from your in-laws, or the knowledge of occult in itself will expand for you. So that is something, Pisces, you can look out for. Other aspects of 8th house are also some tricky behavior with respect to some affair sort of situations, looking out of your current relationships. And if you are in that situation, I would want you to be watchful, because this Rahu in conjunction with Venus from 27th January onwards will give you immense opportunities to exercise something of that sort. But remember, folks, the Lord of Third is also in Lagna. People who are having that enterprise bent of mind, people who are trying to do something of their own, you will also have enough possibilities to knock the wood out of the park. Why do I say that? Because at the same time, you will be having a Parivartan Yoga, which will be in place between Venus and Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is the Lord of your ascendant, of your Lagna, as well as your 10th house sitting in third. So, yes, this Parivartan Yoga will be of key interest. Now, we will talk about Venus's placement into the 12th house in the first half or the major part of the month in a bit. But before we do that, let's touch upon your Lagna Lord, which is Jupiter. He's sitting in the third house. Jupiter's placement in the third house is not one of the best placements to be in. But guys, you have to understand, it is your Lagna Lord and the 10th Lord sitting in there. I definitely anticipate for Pisces that enterprising mindset. You will not be leaving any stone unturned with respect to your hard work in Jan 2025 itself. The retrograde aspect makes this Jupiter much more powerful. And the impact of a retrograded benefic planet is so much more powerful and pious that I do not have words to express it. It's much better than what a retrograded Mars can offer at this point in time. So he is also going to be giving you the results of the second house too. You are going to find some quality time to spend with your family, enjoy good cuisine, sattvic cuisines, so to speak. You will be having some good communication, interaction within the family, some brainstorming sessions where you ideate about spiritual matters. But very importantly, I anticipate that this Jupiter is going to expand into your business partnerships, into your partnerships in general, into marital partnership too. This Jupiter being in trine to Ketu has been creating some level of turbulence from the seventh house perspective, alienation within the marriage, marital bliss not to its fullest. But Jupiter is keeping a check on that. He is not letting things slip out of the hand. He is giving a good aspect to your ninth, means you are going to continue to get good support from your superiors and bosses. That's a very important thing, because Mars here is debilitated and retrograded. So the problems that Mars could have been throwing is being addressed by that Jupiter with a benefic aspect. And then he's also giving an aspect to your 11th house where Mercury and Sun will be in conjunction in the second half of the month. So the gains will start populating for you as the month progresses. In fact, it will percolate into the month of February as well. So this Jupiter's placement is an extraordinary one. It is going to bring in sense for you to put in more efforts into whatever you do, and your efforts will consume you as well as give you, shape you, your personality, give you the outcomes that you desire as well. So that positivity is also in play. Now, when we move further, we see that Mars, which is the lord of your ninth house as well as your second house, he is again like a Yog Karaka planet for you guys, Pisces. He's sitting in debilitation, in retrogression, but in a good placement in the fifth house. So that's a good placement to be in. He's in retrogression, so he's in a powerful situation, and he's continuously moving towards the fourth house. So what happens is that the placement, the movement of Mars, it might have brought in certain challenges with respect to your relationship with your kids. If you are a student watching this, your interest in studies in itself or the outcome towards that haven't been great. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you have struggled with respect to your romantic connections, pursuits as well. But as this Mars moves into the third house, it will be directly aspecting your 10th house as well, and it will bring in more aggression in you in terms of its outcome. Yes, there could be situations where you will find yourself troubled with respect to your family affairs. There could be general lack of mental peace that might also happen with this transit. Now, why do I call challenges when it gets into the fourth house? Because from there, he is going to be aspecting your seventh house as well. It is going to create a lot of ruckus with its retrograded aspect as well, because it is not going to be a great aspect from your married life perspective. Even though Jupiter is giving an aspect, but Mars aspect is not going to be a kind one on Ketu onto your seventh house. But once it gets progressive, things will gradually start smoothing out. But at least in the month of January, I do not see that optimal result coming. In fact, from a business perspective as well, because it is your house of business and partnerships, whilst Mercury is getting in a good spot, is adding some strength for you, Mars will continue to create some challenges on that aspect, and you will have to be careful. From people who are in job, you will find a much suitable situation to be in when compared to people who are in businesses, all from a married life perspective as well. Last but not the least, with respect to this Mars, from a romantic pursuits perspective as well, I feel this is not one of the most optimal period for you to continue in that direction, or maybe you will not find the right, what should I say, outcome coming in. You might struggle. There could be on and off relationships, and you might find it difficult to meet the needs of the partner or the romantic partner whom you are trying to pursue. A Ketu sitting in the seventh house has not been one of the best positions. Being more spiritual, bringing in some spiritual aspects into marriage is going to be important. With respect to business, I will recommend you folks not to be thinking about the outcomes. I know it is the hardest thing to do and it is not easy. It is so much easier said than done. But this is what this Ketu is here to teach. He is not going to let you gain the right outcome unless and until you disassociate yourself. And there are still 5 more months almost to go for the displacement of Rahu and Ketu to shift to deliver some different kinds of outcomes for you. So you will have to figure out a strategy to de-alienate yourself and continue to pump in efforts to the utmost, because this Ketu gives an aspect to both your Lagna, your 11th house, as well as your 3rd house. Sometimes this disappointment might result you in not putting in enough efforts. You might want to drop your ammunition and not fight any further. But guys, that is where you'll have to pull up your socks and continue to sustain. You will have to figure out mechanism as to how you can do better. And that is exactly what this Ketu is asking us to do. Okay. As we move ahead, we see that the Lord, I see you folks finding a lot of success at your job front. Some of you might find the right promotion coming in your way. New projects will get initiated and they will consume a lot of your time. So please be prepared for that sort of a get up. If you've been facing challenges with respect to your health, you will be able to overcome now. If you've been facing any kind of legal affairs, any kind of problems with respect to loans and litigations, you will be able to overcome those kind of problems as well, because Sun gaining his directional strength in the 9th and then going into 11th in the Capricorn sign is going to be a beautiful movement. So throughout the month of January, in the first half till 13th of Jan, he's going to be in 10th and then into 11th from 14th onwards. So it's going to be a good positioning of this Sun for you folks. It's a blessing in disguise happening both from a profession, health perspective. Mercury is also going to render its support coming into the 11th house from 24th of Jan onwards. But until then, its placement here indicates a couple of things. One, you will get support from your spouse or partners when it comes to initiating new projects. Your mind will be occupied with respect to your karma. It will be occupied with respect to tasks at hand, and you might be pretty busy. So do not drop the guard, because you will find satisfaction also doing the same. Remember, Mercury, though he's unhappy in Sagittarius, he's getting to stare back at his own sign of Gemini in the 4th house. That's a good aspect coming in from Mercury. And later when it comes into your 11th house, you see how empowered your 11th house would be. You will be putting in all of your efforts, all egg almost in the same basket, because Mars also to a certain extent will be giving an aspect to that 11th house, whether being in the 5th house or in the 4th house as well. So see, your gains, your goal achievement, your target achievement, your desires in general will be heightened, and the cosmic energy will be aligning to find you gains as well in that shape. Now your Lord of Gains is sitting in the 12th. So whilst everybody else is trying to push you towards gains, that the Lord of Gains is already sitting into expenditures, which is not too negative a thing. Yes, you are making investments, you are buying stuff, you are spending on things, but that is at least coming at the cost of you finding gains, especially if people who are involved in any kind of international transactions, foreign transactions, this is going to only bring further expansion for you during this period. So it's a positive sign from that angle as well. If you are going through, if you're a Pisces moon and watching through this, of course, you are going through Sadesati, and we will discuss that subject separately. But from an ascendant perspective, those are the key call outs. Venus, which is the Lord of your 3rd and your 8th house, coming and sitting in a Viparit Rajuga in your 12th house, it is going to bring in expansion with its conjunction with Saturn as well. Some sort of recognition is bound to happen for you in a foreign land, in a foreign country, or you might be putting in your effort, energy in terms of acquiring some sort of an asset. I will not be surprised if this interest is also towards spiritual matters. Saturn can be very, very spiritual by nature as well. And Venus can only add to that level of spirituality. So I believe that this could result into some growth from that angle as well. Yes, you will have to be careful in terms of keeping your spending in check, your spending in mind, because that can be one tricky aspect which might happen in the month of January. But I think people who earn more are the ones who end up spending more. It's not that you will be borrowing from somebody. Sun is not giving that promise. So it is not going to be that you borrow from someone to spend. It is going to be your hard earned earnings which are going to go in the form of investments. And I strongly believe that given the positioning of the expansion of Venus with Rahu from 27th January onwards, there is a high probability that you will be more into investments than spending at this point in time. All in all, I think Pisces, I have given a very positive reading for you earlier as well, and I continue with that spectrum in this month as well. It is going to have a very positive outlook. I am very excited for you folks. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you have, then please smash on that like button, subscribe to Dev Astrology, and keep watching. Om Namah Shivaya.